Thank you for waiting.
Not at all. David, you ready? All right, we're good. All right. Thank you. Welcome. My name is David Blackburn. I'm your Bell County Judge. This is a 4 p.m. Update on what is now being called the Cedar Valley tornado. I won't go over the information that I went over earlier this morning at the first briefing, but I'll highlight some of those items and then provide a little bit additional information. In terms of injuries, that has not changed with the third sweep that we have done through the impacted area. There are still 23 reported injuries, one person listed in critical condition, and 12 people transported to local hospitals. So that situation has not changed. I do have some information about damaged structures as we have been working through the day today. We've identified or assessed structures totaling 63 different structures. Those structures include homes and churches and other storage buildings. We believe those 63 are the number of structures that have been assessed and have been damaged. I can't give you any additional information in terms of how much damage occurred. Was it total, partial? Just that there are 63 structures that we've identified as of this afternoon that were damaged. Local first responders are continuing to conduct their third search of the affected area. We've divided that into 3 divisions to conduct those searches. East Division, West Cedar Valley Division, and Crows Division. And again, that's just logistics on how those searches are being conducted. We have security set up, perimeters around the area that was impacted, primarily to assist law enforcement, TxDOT, and others who are working on debris clearing right now, and the electric provider that is in that area so that we can get electricity restored as quickly as possible. We have personnel still flying in the DPS helicopter. We've pretty well identified the swath, which is about an 8-mile swath, quarter-mile long. And those, again, that assessment is still continuing. I provided you with the map, or you should have a map in front of you that gives you the parameters of the area that we're working in right now. A little over 11 miles long, a little less than a mile wide, and 106 addresses are located on the Bell County portion of that swath. A shelter has been identified and opened for displaced individuals, but again, is not being utilized at this time. In terms of electrical outages, as of 2:30 this afternoon, there were 638 outages reported by Bartlett Electric Cooperative, who is the electric co-op that services that area. Complete restoration is required in some locales due to the extent of the damage. We do not have a good estimate at this time as to when power will be restored. The crews are still out clearing the area where the lines were damaged or fell. And as of just a couple of hours ago, they were still removing debris off of existing lines. So it's going to take some time, but we'll try to provide updates on when folks can expect power to be returned as soon as we have those. Numerous roadways were impacted by downed trees, limbs, power lines, and power poles. Again, we've got TxDOT, Bartlett Electric, local government, private citizens, all are out there right now working to help clear the roadways to get them passable and clear the power line areas so that power, again, can be restored. I told you at 11 o'clock this morning that I would provide you with a couple of phone numbers that individuals can call, and I have those 2 phone numbers now. The 2 phone numbers, one of the phone numbers is for property owners or individuals that have been impacted by the event. So in other words, if they're needing assistance, call 254-534-4562. That's 534-4562. And again, that's for individuals who have been impacted by the event and require assistance. And I'll get questions here in just a moment. And those calls will be fielded 8 to 5, Monday through Friday. And again, the property owners or individuals impacted can call that number, and we'll try to get them in touch with the appropriate resource to assist them. For individuals that want to make donations, either of products or services or help out, however they want to do that, but for donations, the number to call is 254-534-2217. That's 534-2217. And again, that's for donations. So we've already had, again, the generosity of the community has certainly come forward, but we've had multiple calls already this day from, donating water, donating supplies, donating equipment, offering labor and equipment to come help clean, all of those kinds of things. If that's what we will label as a donation, and that number is 534-2217. All right. Two more items, and I'll take any questions that you might have. This afternoon, I also signed a disaster declaration, a local disaster declaration for Bell County. I'll read a portion of that disaster declaration, and again, if you don't have a copy of that, we can provide you a copy. With the touchdown of one or more tornadoes that has caused extensive and widespread damage to the public and private property, disruption of utility services, and the general endangerment of health and safety of the residents of Bell County, and given that extraordinary measures are now being taken to protect life as well as to rehabilitate the property, a state of disaster, said state of disaster requires that certain emergency response measures be taken pursuant to the authority granted by state law. What the disaster declaration does is it activates formally our county's emergency management plan. Informally, that went into effect last night, shortly after 6 o'clock, when we activated our emergency operations center. This disaster declaration also provides an opportunity, if at some later date, if we meet the thresholds for damages associated with the event, then we might be able to access, and property owners might be able to access funding that would help offset some of the expenses associated with their losses. We won't know that until all the data is collected and we have that information. But it starts with a disaster declaration and the submission of that data to the state. And so we'll be encouraging folks to do that. We'll provide a platform for them to provide that information. I say a platform, but a very hopefully simple process so that they can insert or provide that information to the state. And then again, assuming we meet some thresholds, that might open up some opportunities to get some funds for properties that have been affected. The last thing I was going to mention is no plans at this point to have a scheduled press conference tomorrow. We'll push out press releases or media releases as warranted and post information on our county website, which is www.bellcountytx.com. But if you go to that website, we'll put that on the front page, and any additional information or updates we'll post there. I would anticipate for the next couple or 3 days, we will have a situation report that will be posted on that website each day, probably posted once a day, probably after noon timeframe. The format that we followed today was to get everybody marshaled on the site and in the area, go over what needs to be done that day. And as I mentioned earlier today, we had a threefold objective for today, which was clear the debris, work toward restoring power, which is related to the debris clearing, and do another sweep to make sure we've accounted for all the folks in that area, which again, we believe we have. I anticipate that to be the routine for the next couple or 3 days. It will go through that process in the morning. Forces will be marshaled out. They'll go out and execute on that. And then midday or so, we'll have an assessment of where we're at and what we're doing. And that's when that situation report will be produced and provided to everyone. And I anticipate that damaged structure assessment, which I mentioned just a moment ago, was 63 structures that were damaged. That's something that could likely change over the next 2 or 3 days as the assessments continue. Okay, with that, I'll pause and see if there's any questions that I can answer.
Sir, can you go over the markings that are on some of the houses? While we were out there, you could see there was an X and it had a date and some initials. And it was on vehicles as well. Can you kind of walk us through what that means for those emergency responders?
I can give you an overview of that, and I can follow up or ask James to give you a follow-up on that afterwards to make sure what I tell you is accurate.
Yes.
I believe that's just a marking so that other first responders who are going through that area know that that particular structure, that particular location has been checked. Primarily for, again, making sure we're accounting for people. But I believe that's what the markings are. I don't think they represent anything other than that at the moment. But if it does, we'll clarify and get back to you on that.
Yes.
So if you see paint markings on structures or pieces of a structure out there, that just means that a first responder or somebody has gone through and checked that property.
How long are you asking drivers to sort of stay away from that road?
I don't think we've set a date or a time that they need to stay away. There's still, if many of you were out there this morning, I think, you saw all the heavy equipment moving. That's likely to continue for the next couple of days, at least. TxDOT, if anything, that's ramped up a little bit today as more equipment has moved in. But there are lots of dump trucks out there. There's lots of heavy machinery moving, lots of brush. And it's just, it's not only is it dangerous to be traveling that road right now because of all that heavy equipment movement and the debris that's still on the roadway, it slows down the recovery efforts with traffic that doesn't need to be on the road. That's a long answer to, I don't know when we will say that the road is clear. It'll be cleared and sort of return to normal whenever we've got all that debris cleared up and cleaned out. And we really need to get the power restored because it not just this 8-mile swath area where the tornado came through has been impacted by the electrical outages. As I mentioned just a moment ago, 638 power outages reported by Bartlett Electric Co-op of their customers. You heard me mention also there are 106 addresses in the area that we're looking at. So there is about 500 plus homes that are without electricity right now because of the electricity issues and the power down in this location. So again, it is impacting multiple homes and residents in that area and outside of the area that we're looking at. So again, the more people we can keep off those roads until we get the debris cleared and then the power restored, the faster that power will be restored to that area, and cleanup efforts can hopefully work a little bit more effectively and efficiently when they have power, especially on private properties where they're relying on some power and water. A lot of those homes in that area need electricity for their water. So they're without water at this time too. So again, long answer to I don't know when, but we're going to move lots of equipment, lots of people as quickly as we can.
Can you tell us, do you have a better picture now than what you did last night about exactly how many responders have come out? I know I saw the Round Rock Emergency Management Vehicle out there, and I saw the Bell County, I think it was the Bell County Sheriff's Command Center out there. Do you know about how many communities have come to Central Texas? I
don't have that list. We'll try to follow up with that and see if I can get a better list or a better response than I'm going to give you right now. I can tell you that there are multiple responders out there, at least a half a dozen different agencies, probably more than that, but at least a half a dozen from our Williamson County to our south. I want to say a special word of thanks to Williamson County and the folks they have sent and the resources they have sent. As you noted, the Incident Command Center that we're using was sent by Williamson County, so we very much appreciate the use of that. Bell County has an Incident Command Center, Sheriff's Department does. That was also out there. But again, when an event occurs of this magnitude, it's good to have as many resources as you can. Williamson County, though, has been a great partner. We very much appreciate it. But we have had, again, first responders, volunteer fire departments, and again, a host of state agencies and state entities, not the least of which is the Texas Department of Emergency Management, Texas A&M Forestry Service, all of those entities, Texas Department of Public Safety, all present, all working in various capacities out there. But we'll try to get you a list of agencies and entities that are actually on the ground out there, and at least an estimate of how many people there are. And TxDOT, I don't want to forget TxDOT. Lots of heavy equipment out there from TxDOT right now moving debris. It's going to be in the hundreds in terms of the number of people that are out there. Any other questions?
In terms of donations, and you mentioned water, what are some of the most critical needs right now?
I would say water is probably a high need. That's probably something else I don't have in my notes. I didn't get that from the last briefing I was in relative to specific needs from property owners. We'll get a response out on any specific needs, especially in terms of supplies and materials or things like that. Water, I think, would probably be high on the list, because what I just mentioned a moment ago, with electricity being out to at least 638 customers out there, they're not able to get any water right now, so they're having to purchase that water. So that's probably going to be high on the list. Any other questions? And we'll follow up and get you a better list for that too.
I know you mentioned 63 structures that had been affected. Do you have a breakdown of how many homes are within those structures?
I do. Now you're going to make me do math. Well, I'll tell you what, I'll let you do the math. In the three divisions that I mentioned, actually 4 divisions, I guess, East Division, West Cedar Valley, Crows Ranch Road, and then South Shore. Those are all division areas. There were 15 and 17, that's 32, right? Somebody check my math. 32 plus 4, 36 plus 25. Is that 61? So 61 out of 63 are homes, which would make the other 2, looks like a church and then another structure.
2 churches. It should be 2 churches.
2 churches. That's true. There were 2 out there. And again, that's the number that we have today. I fully anticipate that number is not going to be static. We'll see. It may be, but I think there'll be some changes to that number. So vast majority of those structures are homes.
Did you guys reach out to Williamson County for aid, or did they offer aid? How'd that partnership work out?
Now I'm just trying to think back on, it seems like a long time ago last night now. I think Williamson County was, I think it was almost concurrent, and to tell you the truth. I think they were en route because part of this event occurred in Williamson County as well as Bell County. That map that I showed you, that yellow area to the bottom portion of the page there, that's Williamson County. And the tornado initially touched down in Williamson County and then made its way northeast into Bell County. But I believe Williamson County responders were concurrent with, we're on our way, can we help? And I think our concurrent response was, we're requesting any and all units to assist as they can. So I think it was a concurrent matter. I did receive a phone call while I was en route to the scene last night from the Williamson County Judge, who indicated that their sheriff's department had already had deputies that were responding on the Williamson County side of the event, and just letting me know that they were happy to coordinate and wanted to help in any way they could. But I would classify it as concurrent. Anything else?
Since I was late, I'm just wondering.
It's okay.
Repeat any of that stuff. I don't know if y'all want to grab your mics. I'm sorry.
It's okay.
You're just going to see if I can say the same thing twice. That's what you can see.
The highlights. Any new information?
Pardon me?
Any new information, Judge?
Okay.
Since the earlier press conference.
New information? Yeah, so you're going to make me go back. I don't know if I'm going to be able to sort through it that way, but I think the new information I provided was no new information to report on injuries, still 23, 12 transported, 1 critical. Damaged structures is new information. We're still in the process of assessing, but we do have 63 structures that have been assessed and identified as damaged. 61 of those, I think is what we just tallied up, are homes or residential units. We're still, and we'll continue to do so as the assessment occurs, but still looking at searching the affected area to make sure we've accounted for everybody, although we think we have. But that will be ongoing throughout the life of this event. We have security in place around the perimeter of the affected area, again, trying to mitigate traffic primarily into that area. That can impede our ability to clear the debris and restore the power. So we're trying to minimize the traffic in that area to the extent that we can. We do have a shelter that is open for displaced individuals, but again, not being utilized at this time. New information, the phone numbers, I'll go over those one more time. The phone number for affected property owners is 254-534-4562. And the phone number for donations, if you'd like to make a donation, either in services or labor or whatever, the number is 254-534-2217 or 2217. I think that's the new information that I conveyed.
What does it say? I know obviously National Weather Service is still has to evaluate and rate the tornado, but what do you think it says just about it? Or is that?
Thank you for bringing that up. I didn't mean to mention that, and I think I left it on the printer. James, can you go check the printer and see if I left the tornado information on it? It was from the National Weather Service.
Yeah, because I was just going to ask, seeing these sturdy, large ranches totally destroyed, what does that say about the strength of this tornado?
That it was strong, for sure. I did receive a report just before I walked in here that the National Weather Service has classified the tornado. If James will bring that in here, I'll read it to you. I believe, I'll wait till
when's the last time Bell County saw anything like this?
I don't recall. The closest thing to memory that I can bring to bear, which is not Bell County, but was the Jarrell tornado. Forgot how many years ago that was, but that was certainly 1996. So it's been a little while. Yes. Yeah, so as many of you know, the National Weather Service does classify tornadoes. They have a system called I'm not sure what EF stands for, but at any rate, an EF number that they assign to tornadoes. Those tornadoes can be classified as a 0, EF 0, EF 1, 2, 3, 4, or 5. And James, that's still not the, just one second. Yeah, I don't know where I wrote it down. They've classified this one as an EF 3. Which is wind gust or miles per hour from 136 miles an hour to 165 miles an hour. And the information that I received was that the National Weather Service has placed this tornado at a high EF3 with maximum wind speeds of 165 miles an hour. So let me reread what the classification system is. 136 to 165 is an EF3. So if it was 1 mile an hour higher, it would have been classified as an EF4. So it's the highest rated EF3 tornado that is on their chart, which is 136 to 165. And they rated the maximum wind speeds at this one at 165 miles an hour. Thank you for asking. I'd forgotten to mention that. Any other questions? Again, if there's a need for a press conference, we'll send out a note, let you know. Most likely that press conference will be here. As y'all know, getting in and out of that area is challenging. And it's also something we want to minimize. So we'll do press conferences here as needed going forward. But just watch our website and James will push out information as we think it's necessary.
Sorry, I have one more question.
Okay.
I just thought of, if you already mentioned this, but have y'all had conversations with TM and the governor's office yet about deploying state resources to help?
There are state resources on the ground right now. And yes, we have had conversations with the governor's office through TDEM, or I have, and TDEM has been on the ground since last night. And there are multiple assets from the governor's office and from the state on the ground right now and in the air.
Yeah, I'm assuming it's too early. I'm just curious if in combination from the tornadoes that we saw in like the Round Rock area a couple weeks ago, if enough of this damage would qualify for FEMA funding.
Yet to be determined is the answer on that. That's one of the reasons I issued the disaster declaration. And one of the reasons I would encourage property owners to report their damages, because as you've alluded to, there's a threshold that we have to meet statewide in order for those funding opportunities to kick in for property owners. So it's in everyone's best interest if they're reported. But yet to be determined if we meet the thresholds. All right. Thank y'all.
Thank you.